Plantation mindset. This is a phrase used by African Americans to describe or to explain why, again, let me put it by some African Americans to explain why there is this unhealthy competition, or some of them call it jealousy, among their African American brothers. On the other hand, the Diaspora Night of Comedy is coming up in MD. Stay tuned with your girl, Soso Babes.
You got the power, you got the strength. All you need is the will, this is the knowledge you got to learn. Because it is real. You can be anything, you can be anything. You can be anything, oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Let's talk a little bit about the plantation mindset. The plantation mindset, I've heard this term in a lot of shows recently or in the past couple of years, both shows and podcasts. And the reference here is made to the experience that the Africans, the experience that the Africans had as slaves here in America. Okay. And it is said that during those years when they worked on the plantations, the slave masters had that process where they will free a single slave after about 12 months. They will send, depending on the number of slaves they had in their possession, they will free a single slave after a long period of time. So there is a tendency for these men to fight, to compete with each other because they wanted to be that man that was going to be freed when the time came. So the explanation they give for this concept is that most African American brothers today, they fight with each other, they compete with each other, they don't want to see each other grow, they are ready to push each other under the bus if they have the least opportunity because of some trickling down of that plantation mentality from their great grandfathers. That is the explanation they gave. Now, I want to take this home, of course, right? I want to take this home to my Cameroonian brothers. Of course, we had slavery in Cameroon, right? It went down from the Portuguese to the Dutch, and they had, I think, in the 19th century, when slavery with the transatlantic slave trade, when slavery was finally abolished around the 19th century, internal slavery still continued within the country until the 20th century, right? So when the slave masters, the colonial masters finally left Cameroon and had stopped the trading of slaves within the country itself, now some Cameroonians owned their own slaves for some time. As time went on, these slaves they were absorbed into different communities, so the communities in which they were living. And we all know that slavery did cause a lot of population migration in Cameroon when the colonialists came in to gather these slaves to ship to different parts of the world, some of whom are today African American, some of whom today are great grandparents to some of our African American brothers and other parts of the world. We know that a lot of people were moving, they were running away from these slaves. So this caused a lot of population migration where people were displaced. Villages today, there are a ton of villages today in Cameroon that came about as a result of people who ran away from these colonialists that were looking for slaves, and they settled in different places. I come from one of such places too, right? So there is a lot more on our history and on slavery and the impact that it had on Cameroon. But then my question to my Cameroonian brothers is, I am not saying that I have a perfect understanding of how slavery was done in Cameroon. I owe my own due diligence, but one thing I know for sure is that the experience of slavery in Cameroon It's not exactly the same as the experience in America. So if our African American brothers, if some of them are saying that this whole rift, this whole fighting, competition, jealousy among brothers, among the guys, among the men, is as a result of a trickling down of this plantation mentality where everybody is trying to stand out to please the slave master, right? What is it for our Cameroonian brothers? What do you think? And if you're watching this and you're more savvy in Cameroonian history than you think I am, I'm very open to learn. What is it in our culture that makes our men compete with each other? You see, I'm thinking, as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about it. What could it be? It feels a little different as a child that grew up in the 80s because I know that growing up there was a lot of community life. What has happened? What changed? Why have people suddenly become so competitive? Is These are some of the questions that I ask myself, and I just try to understand. And is it part, do you think that this is part of those some of the things that we copy? Some of those Western cultures, be it from America or from Europe, that we copy, that is truly not part of our culture, that we feel like, yes, we are out here in the world. What can we copy? Right? Or do you think that this aspect is also coming from our forefathers? What do you think? What causes our Cameroonian men to not want to support each other? What causes them to want to be the first person to ever do I am the first ever person to do this, and I want to stay that first person to do this? What takes away that mentality? What gives our Cameroonian men this scarcity mentality? Why can we not believe or work in a way that we know there is enough for everybody? What has caused it? We see that this whole aspect of it has to be me is the same thing that is ruining our political spheres, right? We have people in power who are not planning or never even looking to leave power any day. And when I talk power, I'm not only talking about the president, I'm talking about even take it as low as the little Njangi houses, communities, ex-student associations. We have people who take power and they don't want to let go. Letting go is always a problem, right? So this is something that if you are a Cameroonian and you're thinking of what might be happening, what is it that we think we need to do to change things, to change the way people feel about power and the way people feel about their different positions. I could be the first ever person to do this, but it doesn't mean that I have to stay the first and only person that has done that thing. Why do we think that it is hard to elevate other people with us, to take people with us, to when you go out there and you find that gold mine, why do you want to keep it to yourself? Ask yourself that, where is that coming from? Right. Growing up, I did not see that with I don't know. So that's why I'm asking this question, because it feels like something has changed. Or maybe growing up as a girl child, I did not see it, or I was not trained like that. But I know that among women, women have their own level of competition, and whatever they do, again, women are women, no excuses for them. But today, my focus is on the men. Why? Again, I believe that if our men can get it right and support each other and support each and stand by each other and not throw each other under the bus at the slightest opportunity they get, then your women will copy, right? And we brought up to know that, hey, besides or behind every strong or successful man is a woman. If a man shows a good example, the woman will follow. Again, do not strike me for that. I'm just saying what I know from growing up and the concepts I have between a man and a woman. Doesn't stop a woman from doing great things, but I also know that when the man shows the good example, the woman will follow. Okay? Do not strike me for that. I'm just saying what I know based on my experience growing up. So let's ask ourselves this question: why do men fight among themselves? Why can't they come together? and work and do great things. I want to understand where this is coming from. These people, the people in the African American culture, they are connecting theirs back to the plantation mentality during the slave days. As Africans now, as Cameroonians, right? What are we trying to connect this to? What do you think cause our men to be the way they are? Are we copying, or did that come from some aspect of our culture as well, or from something in our ground? If you know, I'm willing to have a conversation with you. I'm willing to read your comments. I want to educate myself. And by educating myself, I think we're also educating a lot of people out here. And we're also creating awareness and calling our men to be better, right? And if men can work together, I bet you, I guarantee you that they are going to set the example for a better community, for a better country, Cameroon, and for a better world. All right. And that is why I want to take this opportunity and talk to you people about the Diaspora Night of Comedy that is coming up in MD, August 23rd. 2024, we're going to have our best comedians, Cameroonian comedians, amazing crew. This is one of the groups, the entertainment industry sectors that I think has been flourishing a lot over the past years. Of course, they could have their differences, but one thing I know is that they are able to stand, work together for the good, for their own good, and also for the good of our community. Okay, so I want to give a special shout out to all our comedians who are going to be at the Diaspora Night of Comedy in Maryland, MD Hyattsville, precisely, and on August 23rd. Big shout out to Senior Pastor, to Spakoli, Loboy Synthetic, Yaki Bella, my very own baby girl, Hey Pie, Topi International. And this time around, we are for those of you who know Auntie Felicia, you're going to see Auntie Felicia there. Again, I'm not promising you this, but in order to know if Auntie Felicia is going to come in the Auntie Felicia element, you want to be part of this comedy night. But the host for that night is no other person than our very own Dr. Kwo Elonge. Right? This is one guy that you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss that opportunity to see him in his MC, in his host element. These are young men that have been inspired and groomed by other great names in Cameroon, that today they are coming out and they are showing us their colors. The least we can do is go out and support them. So if you are in the MD area, or in the DMV area, it's not going to cost you that much to move. But if you're also out of the state, please, this is an opportunity to meet these our celebrities. It's an opportunity to release some of the stress that we encounter in this hectic society and just laugh out, relax, meet them, celebrate them, give them their flowers, support them in whatever way you can, right? Find your way, start buying your flight tickets to Maryland for, what's that again? August 23rd. Okay, stay tuned. There's a lot of updates. Different platforms are sharing this, so just stay tuned and please make sure that you attend, especially those of you who are on the ground. Please make sure that you show up and support these guys. It is amazing. With your girls also babes be there, you never know. And if you want an opportunity to meet your girl in person, for those of you who've never met me, this is an opportunity for us to come together, celebrate our own, and have a good time. Okay. Thanks again and stay tuned. Your girl, Soso Babes.